Foremost is YEC. Y is all about the potential that all of us have. It's the latent potential that's in us. It's about youth, excellence, you. All of us, regardless of our age, location, diversity, or whatever the labels that we have, all of us represent youth. And all of us represent excellence. That's our promise, and we are here to realize that potential within us. And before we do that, I would want to introduce a beautiful prayer or invocation. This is something from the ancient text. This is something that we always start with any learning process. And let me recite it, and I'm going to leave this as a homework for all of us to kind of go reflect on it, what the meaning. So let me actually say this. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejas Vinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So this is an age-old tradition. Whenever we are actually engaged in a process of learning, we are performing two roles, teacher and student. And it's actually, both of us are playing the two roles. Each one is a teacher and each one is a student. And what we are seeking the invocation here for is, may we both partner together in our journey of seeking and the learning. That's the first line. And then the second one is, may both of us be nourished with a lot of vigor and energy. And we're going to talk about Mihal's flow theory in one of the sessions, where we're going to deploy all the faculties that we have, our body, our energy, in the process to seek the excellence in the learning. So that's the commitment that we're going to make, that we're going to deploy all the faculties, our mind and the body and everything that we have to give our best in our learning, both the teacher and the student. And then the third one is very, very important. In this process, we also make a commitment that there is no hostility or a competition between us. Who is learning more, who is learning less. We are not here to compete with ourselves. The only competition is within ourselves, because we are trying to get from where we are to a better state. And then ultimately, we all represent peace, the harmony within and harmony around. So this is an invocation that we all make at every process of learning. That's how we actually get to the process. And again, I just want to introduce this. Every workshop we're going to start with this, make this invocation, and then towards the end, I will also introduce you to one more of such invocation. And then why did we start YEC? And all of us are here because we want to be entrepreneurs, we want to be cool like Adam, and we want to build an electric car or whatever, and we're going to be super rich. But the key essence of why we started YEC is there are two reasons. Number one is, in today's world, particularly in the world of gadgets and the video games and social networks and so on and so forth, our mind, which is supposed to be the greatest source of strength for us, is actually becoming more and more of a weakest link. So we are becoming a slave to our mind. So the first goal that we want to do is, we want to empower all of us with the mind being the greatest asset. And this is what, in the yoga philosophy, we basically say we all have this power where we can actually achieve whatever we want to do, provided we actually have total control of our mind. In other words, we have intense concentration and intense meditation. If I'm building a startup, that is the only thing that we want to focus on. And then in the process, we lose our own identity, whatever we want to achieve. And that's also what Vivekananda says. You own one idea, whatever the company or the startup that you're building, and then make it be part of every cell in your body. And you become one with that. Then there is no two things. It's not like Srini is prosecuting that idea. Srini assumes the identity of the idea that you're trying to become. And when you actually cultivate your mind to that level, that success is guaranteed. So we want to empower all of us with where the mind has become the weakest link to be the greatest source, so that we become the successful entrepreneurs. And then by being that, by cultivating that ability, and then the second problem that we have is, there is growing divisiveness and inequality in the world. And for that, only entrepreneurs, I believe that only entrepreneurs are the ones that are capable of building better outcomes and restoring the balance and the equality. And that is what we are here for. We are going to build all the superpowers within us. And then we are actually going to set out and build companies that are going to build more equity and more inclusive outcomes. Not the outcomes just for the rich, not just outcomes for people in the United States, but more inclusive outcomes, because we are only, with the COVID, what did we learn? We are only, our well-being is in the well-being of the people around us. And that is the truth. So we become the entrepreneurs, and with the greatest ability with our mind, and then we are going to create this more inclusive outcomes. And then for that, what you're going to see in this camp is we're going to focus on some of the technology, some of the innovations, some of the methodologies. But along with that, we also introduce some of the mind concentration improving exercises. So that actually trains your mind so that you actually focus on. And then we also learn about some of this oneness. We'll introduce you to some of the inequalities in the world, like here or in India or in Africa. And then we are going to engage in a process on what might be a better experience that we can actually create to challenge these unfair status quos. And for this, this is a platform where every one of us, eventually, if you have a mastery in any one of the domain, like singing or music or some startups like what Adam in electric cars, he can be a provider, but at the same time, he can also be a seeker. If you would want to learn something else about a business plan, or if he wants to learn about yoga, he could actually participate. So we all can perform two roles. We can be an excellence provider or excellence seeker. Like Uber. Take Uber as the greatest a startup idea. If you look at it, Uber, every citizen can be a driver or a rider. It's called a two-sided marketplace. So when we are designing startups, if you can actually make this as a two-sided marketplace where everybody can participate, the value just gets multiplied. And that's one of the concepts. So again, at YEC, we are designing that way. And very quickly, and we are going to come back to this in just a moment, what we are going to do is we are actually introducing a framework on how we are going to go through this process of learning about entrepreneurship. There are three muscles that we need to cultivate. One is a thinking muscle, right? And this is where we actually spot opportunities. This is the opportunities, coming up with an idea. That's the thinking muscle. And then there is an execution. Once you have an idea, how do you operationalize it to go build a company? And then the third one is the most important thing, but we do that with more awareness, the self and the character. Because some people are actually building startups or achieving excellence in Stanford and this stuff, but they're losing themselves. They are getting anxiety and other issues. For us to go achieve the superpowers of building a company, we can actually do that much more joyfully, with all the capabilities of mind and focus and being in harmony with ourselves, because that's the most important reason. So we're going to focus on these three muscles, and then there are multiple offerings. And the first thing, today's exercise is, what is thinking? What is thinking? So here is a simple exercise. What we see here is, this is sight. We see a picture of a banana. So when you see this picture of banana, what does it represent for you? What does it represent for you? Does anybody, what comes to your mind? Fruit, yeah. Nutrition, that's a good answer. And what else?
Nutrition that's affordable to most.
What else? So this is any information that we present, like when Adam presents his journey about the Beatles, that is what he's presenting. That is what your senses per se give you information. That's just an information. It's just a banana, it's a fruit, right? But then the insight is the one that actually gets deeper into it. What we need to cultivate is building an insight. The deeper meaning of any object, any classroom, or anything that we actually interact with, we need to develop an idea of an insight. The insight is this fruit of a banana went from, what does it actually there? Like what Priya said, is a nutrition. Which is like, we need to actually go figure out anything that we interact with the world. What does it mean for me? What value does it have? Both positive or negative. right? What is the value, or what does it actually, come in? Like number one, one of the insights things could be like it's delicious, it's sweet. Now it went from being a banana and a yellow color and the fruit to it's delicious. And then it's delicious, it's sweet, and this stuff. But then the deeper thing is, it's like ultimately it's a food object, we're going to consume it. That means it's going to add some value to us. And that is when the nutrition comes in. Then we need to develop that insight of, okay, how is it valuable to me and the people around it? So we need to be able to understand the nutrition behind it, right? There's like a vitamins in this stuff. This is the difference between sight and insight. We need to build this capability of building insights. If you watch any game or news piece or anything that you interact with, we need to cultivate this like, what does it mean for me and the people around? This is the first insight. And then we basically get to outcomes. Now we went from fruit, yellow fruit, to it's delicious and sweet, and then it actually has this nutrition label. Now it knows what the ingredients are, how it can be, what it can do. Then what outcomes can it create for us? Right? If you eat a banana, you actually can regulate your blood pressure, it actually promotes healthy skin. These are now the healthy outcomes. Now, once we know what the outcomes are, we can actually incorporate a lifestyle, which is like, okay, how do we incorporate this particular fruit as part of my life experience? So anything that we are going to do in this workshop, we go from sight, which is the information, to insight, where we go deeper to understand what value, what is the nutrition that it has. And then we are going to move into the process of now how it can actually, this nutrition can help create better outcomes. So this is the first thinking muscle. And everything that we need to do, we need to come up with, like, the better thing is, like, people that with diabetes, now because of the high sugar content, you can come up with like an outcome is, it's just like, okay, now this is not good for people with, some stuff. So this is the muscle that we're going to do. So now when Adam goes through the journey, what I would like us to go through the exercises, Adam is like a banana, right? Whatever he shares is that. From there, we are going to build our own insights. And then from there, we basically come up with an outcomes. What are the new excellent experiences that we can actually create in our own world? Any questions on that? So this sight to insight to outcomes. And then when you look at your world, this is a framework. Insights is why we look at the information. More importantly, we need to spot the ability of what are the unfair status quos. Like for example, if somebody has a heart, some issue. Now once you look at the banana, you went from sight to insight, and then outcome, it is like it regulates a better thing. So your unfair status quo is I have some kind of a heart ailment. Now you can actually create a better thing, and then what actions do you need to do is based on the banana. You basically is like, I need to eat a banana every day. And then you can actually get a metric, which is like, am I eating a banana every day? So this is how we're going to quarterback designing excellence in our world. Right? Our world consists of your personal being, your own self, your family, and then your work or school, and then the broader world. So most of the time we only operated one or the other ones. The thing is, we are all whole beings. Unless and until every one of them is in a perfect excellent state, we are not completely in an excellent state. So we can actually build a 360 excellence, and the best part is we can actually profit from this. Right? That's what an entrepreneurship is. Right? By designing excellence, and we profit from it. Right? So that's kind of a quick overview.
One question, Srini.
Yeah, go ahead.
That arrow between actions and outcomes, should it be bi-directional?
No.
Because actions can lead to outcomes, and outcomes also trigger further actions.
No. Actually, so the thing here is you come up with insights, your current state, and then you design outcomes. From this, you decide what actions, and then metrics, and then how well you're doing it. Based on the metrics, you again feed back to new insights and new outcomes. Okay, am I succeeding or am I not succeeding? Am I getting to the excellence outcome that I designed? And for that, you design new insights and new outcomes, and then you come back with a new action plan. Right?
Okay.
So
from a design perspective, as in how we go about it. Start with insights, we decide what outcome we working towards, and then we identify actions.
Then you do the actions, and then you also need to come up with a measurement plan, right? You know, how I'm going to measure that. Number one, the measurement is, am I succeeding in the action plan? Am I conforming to the action plan that I set out to? And then, am I getting closer to the outcomes that I designed for myself? If there is
How effective they are in getting us closer to the goal.
Yeah, and if you're not there, then again you go back to your insights and outcomes. Why am I not able to do the action plan that I signed up for? And then why am I not getting into it? You come up with new insights and you design new outcomes, and then you repeat this process. It's a cyclical process, right? So let me stop that with that, and then let me have the honor and privilege to introduce, and now I can actually pretend that I'm young, my best friend and the youth entrepreneur, Adam.
Thank you.
So Adam, I've known Adam for now about 3 years, and my best friend, Brett, who is sitting in the back. Brett, I've known him for 4 or 5 years, and when I first met Brett during our professional engagement, and Brett said, you need to meet my son. And literally, we met at a parking lot, and then Adam actually brought one of his beautiful things. But I don't want to tell any of the story. I'll let Adam reflect on his journey. The way we are going to do it is, first let's get a little bit more of an excitement going. Perhaps, should we go do a quick demo and then come back and do the journey, and then we can again go back to the car? Should we do that?
Yeah.
Should we go and go look at the car and then get a little bit of an excitement, and then come back, and then otherwise it just becomes a slide here, right?
Sure.
Let's actually do some action. Okay? Come on. And then this is.
I can.